Information search and processing. Information search, which can identify new needs and involves mental as well as the physical activities that consumers must perform in order to make decisions and accomplish desired goals in the marketplace. The benefits of information search, however, can outweigh the cost. So, it is a stage in the consumer decision process during which a consumer searches for internal or external information. It is important for consumer behavior because it helps marketers will understand what influences the consumer's buying decision. Information processing. Topic is important for understanding buyer behavior in general as well as effective communication with buyers in particular, and it has received a great deal of study. Assessing how a person processes information is not an easy task. So the marketers want to know how consumers respond to their advertising messages. Their advertisements provide various stimuli with regard to product, brand names, prices, and etc. Consumers process these stimuli and react to them. Information processing refers to the process by which a stimulus is received, interpreted, stored in a memory and later retrieved. There are 5 stages in information processing occurs. 1 is exposure. Information processing starts with the exposure of consumers to some source of stimulation such as watching television, going to the supermarket, or receiving direct mail advertisement at home. In order to start the process, marketer must attract consumers to the stimulus or put it squarely in the path of people in the target market. So, exposure stage, consumers are exposed to opportunities available in the environment, and this leads to activation of consumers. The second is attention. At all moments, people are bombarded by all sorts of stimuli, but they have a limited capacity to process this input. They must devote mental resources to stimuli in order to process them. In other words, they must pay attention. Marketers can increase the likelihood of attention by providing informational cues that are relevant to the buyer. So, attention means it represents the allocation of processing capacity to the income stimulus. For the third stages, perception, it involves classifying in incoming signals into meaningful categories, forming pattern, and assigning names or images to them. Perception is the assignment of meaning to stimuli received through the senses. So, the perception establishes the meaning about a product or brand when a consumer makes initial contact. The fourth stage is retention. The role of retention or memory in the sequence is twofold. First is memory holds information while it is being processed throughout the sequence, and the second is memory stores information for future long-term use. Heavy repetition and putting a message to music are two things marketers to do enhance retention. Well, this is marked by the storage of product or brand information in short-term and long-term memory. So the marketer's goal is to provide positive stimuli in the preceding stages that translate into consumers storing in the information about the product or brand into long-term memory. And the last stages is retrieval and application. The process by which information is recovered from the memory storehouse is called retrieval. application is putting that information into the right context. If the buyer can retrieve relevant information about a product, brand, or store, he or she will apply it to solve a problem or meet a need. So, the most exciting advertisement is worthless if it doesn't make a reasonably lasting impact on the receiver. So, the advertisers need to understand how our brains encode or mentally program the information we encounter that helps to determine how we will remember it if we do at all. In general, we have a better chance of retaining incoming data we associate with other information already in memory. Identification and evaluation of alternatives. The consumer evaluates these alternatives and if financially and psychologically able, makes a choice. The criterion used in evaluation varies from consumer to consumer, just as the needs and information sources vary. One consumer may consider price most important while another puts more weight upon quality or convenience. Therefore, it is a technique used for discovering different methods or ways of accomplishing the work of the project. For example, brainstorming might be used to discover alternative ways of achieving one of the project objectives. The search for alternatives and methods used in the search are influenced by such factors as time and money cost, how much information the consumer already has, the amount of the perceived risk of if a wrong selection is made, and the consumer's predisposition toward particular choices as influenced by the attitude of the individual toward choice behavior. So, there are individuals who find the selection process to be difficult and disturbing. For these people, there are a tendency to keep number of alternatives to a minimum, even if they haven't gone through an extensive information search to find that their alternatives appear to be the very best. Product or service or outlet selection. The selection of an alternative in many cases will require additional evaluation. Additional evaluation is needed to decide whether to wait until the product comes in, accept a substitute, or go to another outlet. So the selection and evaluation phases of consumer problem solving are closely related and often run sequentially, with outlet selection influencing product evaluation or product selection influencing outlet evaluation. So the selecting of our retail store also involves almost the same process as selecting a brand. A retail outlet relates to a service or a product which caters to be consumer. The purchase decision. Marketers can do to simplify purchasing will be attractive to buyers. Sometimes, several decision situations can be combined and marketed as one package. To do a better marketing job at this stage of the buying process, a seller needs to know answers to many questions about consumer shopping behavior. Providing basic product, price, and location information through labels, advertising, personal selling, and public relation is an obvious starting point. Product sampling, coupons, and rebates may also provide an extra incentive to buy. So the purchase decision is the thought process that leads a consumer from identifying a need, generating options, and choosing a specific product and brand. And some purchase decisions are minor, while other purchases are major. The more major the purchase decision, the more effort is typically put in the process. During this time, the consumer may form an intention to buy the most preferred brand because he has evaluated all the alternatives and identified the value that it will bring him. Purchase behavior. Consumers' feeling and evaluation after the sale are also significant to a marketer because they can influence repeat sales and also influence what the customer tells others about the product or brand. Keeping the customer happy is what marketing is all about. The marketer may take specific steps to reduce post-purchase dissonance. Advertising that stresses the many positive attributes or confirms the popularity of the product can be helpful. So, post-purchase behavior describes the way a customer thinks, feels, and acts after they have bought something. This is when a customer is assessing whether or not they are happy with their purchase. Sometimes, customer feels anxious after they've bought something. Marketing research. Market research is an organized effort to gather information about target markets and customers. Know about them, starting with who they are. It is a very important component of business strategy and a major factor in maintaining and competitiveness. There are 4 major elements that are involved in undertaking marketing research. First is to determine the purpose and scope. It is creating a research design to test the questions is the most important and most complicated aspect of marketing research. Second is to determine the types of data, and this is the data sources are generally classified as either primary or secondary. The third is the selection of the sample. A probability sample involves the selection of respondents in such a way that every unit in the pool has the same chance of being selected. And the last one is the anticipation of the results and decisions. It is becoming more and more common in large marketing research projects to make use of a computer for the processing and tabulation of the research results. So, the market research is the process of determining the viability of a new service or product through research conducted directly with potential customers. And market research allows a company to discover the target market and get opinions and other feedbacks from customers or consumers about their interest in the product or service.